God, I love this game, and this is a hard video for me to do because I want to criticize the game really bad right now, but I don't want to be a dick about it, and I don't want people to watch the video and pile on or think that the game is dying or it's terrible or anything like that. I just want to talk about some of the mistakes that I think Amazon has been making recently, and, you know, drop that very Canadian constructive criticism on how they could probably change some things that would help the game out a lot. So I'll reiterate, this is one of my favorite games to play. I play it almost every single day, and what makes this game so fun for me is the combat. It is something truly special. There's no MMO out there that has combat quite like New World. And this brings me to the first point that I want to cover, aim locking. Now, aim lock was something they added recently with the console launch of this game, and I understand maybe why they would want to add aim lock, but I also think it was a huge mistake. What makes this game's combat so special is the fact that you actually have to aim your attacks. You're not just given a tab target like so many other MMOs, and it creates a skill layer to this game. I mean, look at me play Hatchet here and just miss all of my attacks. That's something where I can improve as a player and can grow. And that's really cool because any other MMO, man, I could have my eyes closed and I would be landing those attacks. So the second they went and they added aim lock, especially to PvP, I feel like they stripped away that really special layer of combat. You no longer need to worry about that aspect. You don't need to read or think about where your opponent's moving. The aim lock will just do it for you. And then, of course, there's all of the abuse around aim lock right now. Switching your game to controller mode so that you get the soft aim assist from a controller, and then you play with keyboard and mouse, and then you turn on aim lock, and you've got stuff like arrows bending to hit the target. It's absolutely wild how ripe for abuse this mechanic is, and I just think it was a mistake to add in the first place at all. So, Amazon, I would love to see you guys just remove aim lock from PvP. Just turn it off. You can leave the soft aim assist for controllers and stuff like that, but please get rid of the bug that allows PC players to take advantage of that, because mouse and keyboard does not need that kind of a soft aim assist. And yeah, I just think combat in general would feel so much better for everybody that's a PvP player if they turn that aim lock off. As for PvE, you know, you guys have fun. Seriously, I don't see mobs out there complaining about 100% hit rate from players or anything like that. It's all about that PvP when it comes to aim lock, let's be honest. Now, this leads me to my next big criticism, and that's the fact that fixes take way too long. When players give feedback on stuff, we know how we feel, you know, and it's no, like, there is so many times that feedback has been given, and it's not like people are all over the place. The player base is pretty unanimous in not liking a change, and Amazon has really dragged their feet with bringing fixes, and this is something that has been a problem throughout the life of this game. Maybe it's a skill not working properly, maybe it's a certain thing that people are abusing, like, oh, I don't know, controller aim lock on PC. Who knows what it is, but the problem is that it's not a priority for Amazon to fix. They're pushing it back until their next quarterly patch or something like that. I don't know, man. How much of an uproar did there have to be for the Burninator to get nerfed? And people knew day one that the Burninator would be way too strong, but Amazon just didn't listen, and it, you know, them dragging their feet to make these changes, it's not helping the game. I think it turns a lot of people off of the game, especially as PvP guys. We really don't like to see things that are abusable stay in the game for months at a time. Now, this leads really well again into my next point, and that's the quality assurance with this game. The testing that is done prior to patch release seems like sometimes it doesn't even exist, and that makes me really sad because I feel like this one isn't even entirely the current team's fault. There's a lot of mistakes that were made throughout the life of this game that led us to this point, and that's probably a big reason why there isn't a big testing team, or testing is just sometimes foregone entirely. I hate saying that, but there are certain patch releases where it's like, did you guys test it at all? Because it really seems like you didn't. Now, I know that asking for better quality assurance with new patches and fixes is kind of counterintuitive to saying, hey, we want these fixes sooner, but this is the reality of an MMO. And for the sake of this game, maintaining numbers and even looking towards growth, it would not hurt for Amazon to invest a little bit more in both of these departments. Talking about some of Amazon's decision making, let's talk about that new OPR map. The fact that we got to test that new map and every single player was like, holy shit, this is such a massive upgrade from the old map. and then we only got to play it for 5 days or something, and then they take it away from us, and they say stuff like, oh, we might still make changes to it. You know, you could just let us play that new map and then make the changes as time goes on. The fact that you're like, Amazon is keeping us away from this content, I just think it's a huge mistake. I feel like there was a lot of interest in OPR for like 5 days, and then the interest quickly plummets because, well, would you look at that? The old map sucks in comparison. And I'll extend that decision-making and listening to the player base to things like cleanse pots. This patch, cleanse pots have been a massive deal for PvP. They have completely changed up the meta, and they allow you to actually have good counters to something that really lacked a lot of good counters, damage over time. And I think the fact that, you know, you only have access to cleanse pots in certain PvP game modes, and you can't get access to them in things like open world PvP is a huge disservice to the player base again. It's obvious we all want this. I don't understand why Amazon, again, just drags their feet about a change that people can all get behind. And now for maybe my less PvP-oriented criticisms of the game, but definitely big criticisms for sure. I really don't like this focus on seasonal content. It doesn't add any new content, and that's really the fundamental issue. You know, people say, especially with new MMOs or MMOs that have only been out for a couple years, like New World, the game is lacking content. Now, to be fair, I don't think that's true. I feel like there is a ton of content in New World, and people who say they've burnt through all the content, they just play one part of the game, and then they finish that part of the game, and they're like, oh, there's no more of the part that I like to play, therefore the game has no content. And I don't think that's really a valid criticism. But the valid criticism here is that development time and resources are wasted on seasonal crap. If they took those same time and resources and they put it into stuff like a new zone, how many seasons have we had? 7 seasons? That could easily be one new whole area of content. But, you know, that's what we got instead. We got the 7 seasons, guys. I think the fact that they have redone the progression multiple times in this game is another example of not well-used resources. I get that sometimes it's hard to get right the first time and you want to nail it down, but too many gear score increases, too many changes to how you get gear and how you upgrade your character, etc. The moral of the story should be you can upgrade your character through all different kinds of gameplay. There shouldn't be one specific way to get the best gear or the best items in the game, and you can have cool items coming from all kinds of different sources that can help mix things up. But for God's sake, don't make us grind 750 gear score or some shit like that again. Nobody likes that. We want to see new, fresh content, not play over the same old content again, but progression's a little bit different this time. If you really want to adjust things that are existing in the game, something that could be more beneficial is trying to shake up the meta a little bit, make more adjustments to skills, balance them more often, make tweaks here and there that encourage people to try new builds. I think the artifacts was a great system that they added to the game where we have unique items that completely change how builds work, like the beautiful Freya Francisca that we're using in this build here. There's a link down below to the build if you guys want to check it out. But that's something they should be focusing on. Add more artifacts to the game. I think not only is it great because you get to try out new builds, but the different artifacts come from all different areas in the game, so it encourages people to explore parts of the game that they might never have even thought to go to before. Now, I don't know why these problems have been a problem for the game, because to the player base, a lot of this seems really obvious. But I think for Amazon, you know, it's one of two things. Either you've got the money or the suits that want it to be a certain way and they're just out of touch with what would actually be good for the game, or you genuinely have bad developers. And I don't think it's the latter. I don't think that we got this kind of a game from developers that suck at their jobs. I think we got this game from developers that are great at their jobs, but they're being held back by stuff, held back by the money. But on the plus side, you know, New World's still young. They can still make a lot of these great changes, and hopefully they learn from what they've done here and they don't apply it to that Lord of the Rings MMO they've been working on. I want to thank you guys so much for watching and listening to my thoughts today. Bit of a different video. We won't do another one of these for a long time. Instead, we'll go back to regular PvP commentary and stuff like that. As always, I'd love to hear what you guys think. If I missed some important stuff here, please, in a constructive way, let them know down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.